Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, my name's Fee and thank you so much for clicking on the video. I hope you consider subscribing to the channel. So guys, you may or you may not already know that I have now been living in the Netherlands for about 7 months. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about the things that are gonna be weird to me when I go back and visit friends and family in the US. So you guys already know the drill. Go ahead and grab yourself your favorite drink or a snack, get comfortable, and we'll get right into it. So the first thing that's gonna be so weird to me when I go back home to the US is how much a glass of wine costs at a restaurant. Now, I'm not talking about a fancy restaurant or a high-end restaurant, just a regular restaurant. The average glass of wine usually ranges anything from $11 to $12, and this is just for a minimal pour. Meanwhile, in the Netherlands, you can find a decent bottle of wine for 10 euros. So you're not having to pay so much money for good quality wine. So I'm like, oh wow, I can't believe how much money I've been paying for wine in the US. And I think that when I go back home to visit friends or family, I'm probably gonna have some sticker shock when I see the price of wine on the menu. Another thing that's gonna be weird is how they count floors in buildings. So what I mean by this, guys, is that when you walk into a building in the Netherlands, the floor that is on the street level is usually called the ground floor. But in the US, the floor that is on the street level is the first floor. So this has been kind of confusing, trying to figure out what's natural. For example, guys, when we first moved into the Netherlands, we had to go into an office building. So we walked up to the help desk and we asked the employee what floor we needed to go to get to the office we were looking for. And she said that we needed to go up to the first level. So that was kind of confusing because we were thinking, well, aren't we on the first level? But if I had to guess, I think the Netherlands way is becoming more natural to me because it kind of just makes more sense. Another thing that's weird is in the US, you only get 2 weeks of paid vacation. And this is honestly, truly, if you're lucky. I've been reading about how vacation and all of that works in the Netherlands. And if I'm not wrong, you guys can correct me in the comment section, that in the Netherlands, an employer is legally entitled to pay a full-time employee up to 4 weeks of paid vacation time, which is absolutely incredible. I cannot believe that because in the US, you're lucky if you get a week off for Christmas and a week off in the summer. And again, this is not mandated by law. So if you're starting a new job, you don't walk in with any paid time off. You have to accrue this vacation time, which can take you over a year to get it. So it's always so difficult when I'm planning to go back and visit family and friends in the US and they only have 2 weeks that they need to figure out how to maneuver this time, or some of them don't even have any time at all compared to what they have here in the Netherlands as far as vacation time. The next thing that's gonna be so weird to me is not having contactless payments when I use my debit or credit card. Now guys, I will tell you what, before I moved to the Netherlands, I had never used the contactless to pay when I was using my debit or credit card. Every time you go into a store in the US, you always put in your card into the chip and enter your PIN number. Or in certain situations, you actually hand your card off to the employee and they'll run it for you. So it is crazy to me that the US has not caught on with banking as it is here in Europe, because I mean, we are a developed nation. Like, why aren't they where Europe is as far as banking is concerned? And I think that it's high time we do this because handing off your card to the employees, or the way it currently is such a disaster. I'll tell you guys a story of my recent experience when I was back in the US before I moved to the Netherlands. So for my 30th birthday, my friends and I decided to go to Vegas to celebrate. And oh my God, the beginning of the trip was a complete disaster. So we got into the hotel and we were going to check in. And as I handed the employee my card, she said that the payment wasn't going through, which I'm thinking, how's the payment not going through? Like, I know for a fact I had money in the card because we've been planning this vacation for a long time. Like, there's no way I was gonna travel with no money. So I figured, okay, let me go to the ATM instead and withdraw some money. And when I tried to do that, my card wasn't working either. Well, I had to call my bank, which was kind of like a damper because this was the beginning of vacation. So I called my bank to figure out what was going on. And what do you know? Between the time that I'd left my city and got into Las Vegas, among one of the terminals that I'd used in the airport, my card managed to be hacked. And someone decided to party up a storm with my card. They went and bought $1,400 worth of tickets to SeaWorld. They bought tickets to a concert. They bought tickets to go to Mexico. It was absolutely horrible. So my bank had obviously noticed there was unusual activity going on with my card, especially because a lot of the payments were happening from California, and I obviously do not live in California. So they blocked my card, which I'm glad they did, because this person went to town with spending all this money on my card. But anyways, guys, I digress. My whole point in saying this is that I think it's gonna be so weird not having contactless payments when I go to the US and having to hand my card off to someone. And finally, guys, the last thing that's gonna be a little bit weird for me is how small talk is a lot more common in the US. So I've noticed that small talk in the Netherlands and small talk in the US are completely different. The private and public sphere in the Netherlands is a lot more different than it is in the US. So for example, guys, when I usually go to a grocery store in the US and I'm checking my items out, the cashier will ask, hey, how are you? And I'll say that I'm good. And then they'll probably bring up something to do with the weather, like how, oh, it's such a beautiful day today. What are you doing? And I'll tell them, oh, I'm going to maybe, I don't know, the beach or over to, the lake. And they'll ask, oh, what lake are you going to? They'll give a suggestion of a nice little area that you should go to, and I noticed that that's definitely not what I'm used to here in the Netherlands. So it's gonna take me getting used to, because now it may seem like it's a little bit intrusive with all the questions, unlike before where it felt like it was normal. So guys, am I taking on the Dutch habits? I think so, even if it's just a little bit, but it's all for the best. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up so I know that you did. If you haven't already, I hope you consider subscribing to the channel. If there's any questions or videos that you guys want me to do about my new life here in the Netherlands, please let me know in the comments section. And until next time, doei!